Okay, folks, good morning. Back at it again with more bloody Huns. Okay, so yesterday we were painting this guy right here, and we got quite a bit done on him. Still need a few more things to do, horse strappings and the like. Boots, bow case, those sorts of things. And then he's done. So this guy is, we got to do him, and then we got to do 5 more. 2 of them light horse. The last 3 should be fun to do. I got 1 week to do it, a little less than a week to do it, which is actually not that tall an order. I am motivated to be creative, so that's good. I just need to stop. I think I'm okay. I'm over the hill now. I really wanted to do some work on some tanks and stuff, but I'll have to wait on it for a week. But yeah, actually, the color of his skin actually turned out really. I'm really happy with it. All right, so let's put some boots on him that are a little bit maybe contrasting. Actually, I'm going to take a look at. Nobody's on here yet, so let me take a look at my Pinterest. And there should be. I really don't know how to navigate around here very well. It's not very user friendly. There, I found it. Okay, one thing under Huns here. Pretty much always a brown. See if we can do these. This guy in a brown. I don't want to do the light color ones. I don't think on this one. It's going to be too close to the color of the pants. Let's see if we can get a brown that's none of those. How about say this one? Beige brown. They just create color names for no reason whatsoever. This one looks almost identical to several of the other ones. Let's put it away. I want to be consumed by all of these different colors. We're going to need this open. Let me check on one thing. I don't know if I did this. Okay. We did. Good. I haven't gotten very much sleep last night. I stayed up too late and woke up at my normal time. And that's why it's called normal wake up time, because you normally wake up at that time. And I did it again. I don't know what speed the fan's at, but it's liking to make noises at this speed. Let's see. I think it's 3. That's 4. That still makes noises. Oh, at least I can deal with it, that one. Okay, his boots are done. Riding boots. Okay, we know all the tufts are going to be black on him. It's kind of the theme that we have going. That's what I read that they used for oxtails and things like that, and don't think they'd be too concerned about dyeing those. I want a light color on the straps, but I don't know that I want to be very colorful. Let me look at like a really light green. He's one of these real pale colors, but definitely has some green in it, and see what it would look like. No, 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 don't fall down, don't fall down, don't fall down. Thank you. Light sea gray. And yet over here it says green, gray, medium. What the hell color is this? Pastel green. Let's go with that. Definitely my favorite paint that's readily available. And a lot of these colors, I just got them just because I had sold a lot of stuff on eBay, and I just used those funds to buy paint. And I probably got these over 20 years ago, honestly. And this is definitely one of those colors that has not been used very much. Which means sometimes it behaves strangely. It gets clumpy. Yeah, you can mix it by you can get the clumps out by mixing it, but it just catches you off guard because the colors you normally use don't behave in this manner. You put a mixing ball in there and stuff, but honestly, they don't get used very often. And just one of those things. Now, what you don't see on these guys, I just noticed, is really saddles. There might be a saddle back there, down there, but you don't see it. Good morning, Ian. You're the first one here. I was almost wondering, was I even online? Nobody was showing up. A final stretch. And this guy and 5 more Huns to do. I'll get there. Just not what I wanted to work on. Mr. Hanna, welcome. Actually, I want to work on him a little bit more today than I did yesterday. Yesterday, it's just difficult after work. Difficult after work, or difficult after work in a gym. The difference is I'm not excited enough to see what they look like when I'm done. You know, I would rather paint something else. But we just got to go for another week, and then we can paint things with tracks until I get tired of that, and I'll paint 15s again, you know. All right, let's add a little bit more of this stuff here. Had a long week myself, taking son to golf this afternoon. Got Sunday off, so painting then. I know a lot of people play golf around here, but we have 4 golf courses in this town. I've never gone and have no interest in going. I don't want to go to something that the people that are really good at it don't even have to pay to play at it. Like the people that are really, really good at golf, they never have to play for a game. They never have to pay for a game their whole life. Think about that. And they make millions. The people that can pay don't pay. We have what, 4 golf courses? Ironwood, Meadowbrook, the Country Club. Oh, the one in Hale. The one in the University of Florida. So you take the one in the University of Florida, because that's the University of Florida thing. The one in Hale was changed ownership, so that's probably the newest one. The Country Club one, I think, is closed. The one that's Meadowbrook that I pass by every day, it's gone through management issues and it's closed, which, you know, people back up to it have overgrown weeds and all kinds of stuff. And the other one, the Ironwood, is subsidized by the city. But so it must be really difficult to run a golf course, or expensive, or both, or they don't do very well. Or the expenses are just astronomical. And most of the time, honestly, if somebody paid for it, I don't want to be in. I don't want to be outside in that weather. I mean, if it's cool, sure, but in the heat, oh no, no, thank you. Been experimenting with skin tones, and I'm enjoying the results. I love doing skin tones, but it's really frustrating before you get the hang of it, because man, I was frustrated with it for a long time. Long time. Work for me is just a lot of layers. Just got to do a lot of layers. You know, if you're used to doing 3 layers on everything, then you got to do about 5 on faces to get it to look right. At least that's what I've found. And I really like doing the skin tone because if you do it right, it really just brings the figure to life. Nothing like that. It's like, oh, it's a person, you know? My lad has only played for 2 weeks and is new to the game, is really enjoying it, and his friends play golf. So he has a good time meeting them. Well, there you go. Yeah, I don't know anybody who plays, so. I would want to just drive a little car around. Where'd Tony go? Oh, he's at the 19th hole. Thracians being Indo-European lets me do different types of skin tone. Yeah, a lot of patterns with those guys. Clothing and the like. Using Zyston figures for your Thracians? Or forged in battle, or both? Or neither? This guy, this guy's a Hun, but man, he's awful Gaul looking. The Gaul of this guy. Not the best army, but it skirmishes well. But this ain't the best army. I got enough best armies. I'm fine painting weird things that have deficiency issues. I want to paint stuff that's different, not another army that's similar to all the other ones that I have. I mean, in a perfect world, I like having 4 bow, but I don't want all my armies to even have bow. Just for difference. But if it's, a life or death struggle and I can only bring 1 army and I've got to win, I'm not interested in winning that much anymore. It's a fun army. I don't care if it wins. It's a fun army. There you go. Yeah. Don't keep score. Play against your opponent and switch sides, and see what kind of a narrative it plays. The narrative is that's my drive now in gaming. I want a narrative. I want to shoot a video and cool things happen. I don't mean do stupid shit like, hey, what happens if if my infantrymen crawl under a tank, under the tracks? Oh, well, they get squished. Oh, let's see what happens. No, that's not the point. You can try to do intelligent things, but if really crazy stuff happens along the way, that's what you want to see. That's what I want to see. Movie moments, and they frequently happen without you even asking for them. So anytime you put a horde on the board, I want the hordes to kick ass. Why? Because they don't get any respect. I'm always rooting for the Soloi when the knights go to run them over. Fun stuff. Okay, that's all the brass on that. Enjoy the scenario games. You doing any more in the near future? Not if it doesn't cool down. I'm not going to be filming any more games over there at the hot box until it cools down, which may mean late October. I'm just not going to play in 85-degree weather anymore. I mean, I should say, cooling the place down to 85 or 80 or 79. I just, it's too hot. It makes me angry. I've been too hot all day long. I don't want to do that on my own. So weather needs to change. Basically, when I get home from work, the first thing I want to do is I want to shower. And I can't do that on days that I go over there. And I just got tired of it. I put up with it for 7 or 8 years. I'm just not going to do it anymore. I'll go over there when it's cooler. Or we can do a game here, but doesn't seem to be a whole lot of interest in that from other people, so I'll paint. We used to game here. All that, and on top of it, it's on a week. I got to turn around and work the next day, so I don't know. Looking forward to colder weather games, or games on a weekend, or both. And the other thing is, work has been excruciatingly frustrating the last 2 months, so that doesn't help either. So my desire to put up with not avoidable nonsense when I'm not at work is that's kind of a priority. So if it's something like, I really don't want to freaking deal with this, I don't deal with it. So work's gotten way stupid, way stupid, annoying for no reason whatsoever. It's cooler in Scotland now. We're getting close to having frost in the morning, but been sunny mostly during the day, getting up to 16 degrees Celsius. Sign me up. Sign me up. My only exposure to Scotland is Scotch. Oh, man. That's what we had last night. I had like 3. And got like 4 hours of sleep, and I had a tiniest of twinges of headaches. But if I would have had a couple beers, I'd feel like shit right now. I do well with Scotch. I don't ever drink. Every other weekend when my brother comes into town, and working our way through the Bond movies. Bond and Scotch. Or the whiskey with the E in it. We're not that picky. Whatever they happen to have over there. "56 degrees Fahrenheit this morning. Excellent. I'd like a high of 56. But I don't want dreary skies. I want the blue skies we get when it gets cold. Cooler. That's the kind of weather I like. You go outside, walk around, you don't smell like a shrimp salad that's been baking in the sun. All right, we got a bow case. This guy's gonna. Let's paint his bow first. That's kind of a. I'm committed to it being kind of looking a certain way. So just for consistency, we'll do that. Ian, are you up in Scotland too? I bet Scottish armies are popular in Scotland. Just a guess. Speaking of which, has 15 mil is QRF finally opened their doors again? Have they released all their feudal stuff? 'Cause I'm not messing with the pre-feudal Scots until they get their act together. We got some figures we need to order from them and give that army a really cool look to them. That's an army I look forward to painting up, doing them justice. That's what I love about historical wargaming. It forces me, I don't say you because some people don't care, it forces me to read about the history and, learn something. It's always been about learning something. The other day I was looking for what models I could use to get a replacement mantlet for my Sherman that I'm missing one. So I found the Plastic Soldier Company M4A2s. And if I build one of them as a 76 millimeter gun tank, which I really didn't have any intention of doing so, but if I do one that way, I'll have an extra mantlet. So I'm like, well, what can I use them M4A2s for? I said, well, Russians. I'm not building Russian Shermans. They've built enough of their stuff. I know they used them. I don't care. It's not something I want to get into. But, the Brits used them. I think those would be Sherman 3s. So I'm like, all right, what can I use Sherman 3s? And I'm like, ooh, Italy, who's over there? And I'm like, ooh, 1st Armored Division's over there. And they have the cool rhino symbol. So maybe I'll do some British Sherman 3s. And then I'll have an extra turret for this M4A1. M4. And if it's a different mantlet, I saw it, it's close enough for me. I don't care. Well, that's not the same pattern mantlet that they... It's either that or I don't use that M4. And that's silly, It's getting dark here earlier now. Dark by 7:30, light in the morning around 7. That's not too bad. Nope, Central England, haven't been north of the border since 67. Haven't been on a raid, huh? Winter in Scotland, we get very poor light levels, so painting, need the big lights to see what I'm doing. Bring out the big lights. Bring out the big lights. So then in finding out about the 1st Armored Division, I go to Flames of War. And I don't do Flames of War. Their stuff is, the business model for that company doesn't do well with me. And the game's a little too vague for my taste. But they got some great resources. So here's like the all organization charts of which vehicles had what on the fenders. And I was digging all that stuff up. So that's how you learn about shit, That's how you learn about stuff. Ahan Singh. Let me make sure I get this right. I want to pronounce people's names right. Ahan or Ahan? I'm going to go with Ahan Single. Welcome. You just bought some more glue so you can finally base your Carthaginians and play your first game of DBMM. I'd like to play DBMM, but I don't want to run it. I don't want to run it. I bet there's lots I'd like about it. I don't want to play it wrong either. That's really unsatisfying. Got two lights, same as yours, and set them up to avoid shadows on the painting area. These lights are incredible. They're really incredible. And they use hardly any power. I think this one may burn 24 watts, maybe. Or maybe I think this is the more powerful one. Let's see. I think it's 24. They're normally $100 when I got them. Now they're $200. And when I got the $100 lights, I bought two of them because they were half off. So I got two of these things. They're not the same. Well, the lights are the same. Just this one's like almost plastic. The other one's like, this one's like off-white and gray. The other one that we leave in the other room is black and silver. And they were $50 each. I mean, you can't beat that. I mean, the bulbs are kind of expensive, but I think they last like 6 or 7 years or whatever. I've replaced this one once. And the only reason I replaced this one is I had an old drafting light that was my dad's. Well, I used it in my own room growing up, and it died maybe 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. So I had it about 30 something years, and it started, humming when you turn it on and stuff, and it just stopped working one day. So, but that one was probably from the 60s when it was made, and it was rock solid. I generally don't replace things unless something just craps out. I'm not like, oh, I have this thing that works great, but here's something else I can throw money at that works better. I don't generally do that. I don't operate that way. I don't know if I call it frugal. It's called I haven't had money before. You kind of value, the things that you spend money on. I don't need to find new reasons to throw money away. There's always enough of those. But yeah, I swear by these things. And there's probably other brands that are just as good, but that just happens to be the one that they had in the store, Light, you got to buy what's available in stores or in your area, Got mine from Germany. They were 90 pounds each, but they're top quality. Yeah. Some things, if they're expensive, it's okay because you use them every day. You're going to use the light every single time you paint. This paint palette, this is affordable, but let's say this paint palette was $200. Let me throw something way out there. It doesn't matter because every time you're painting, you're using it. It's the thing that, is expensive and you only use once in a blue moon, or you buy it and you don't even use it once. That's the stuff that's really kind of gets to you. But something that you're going to use every day, these cell phones, all these cell phones they're much more expensive than they should be, but we use them all the time. So I don't feel so bad about spending the money on them, because you're going to get your money's worth out of them. So I'm glad they still make things in Germany. It's hard to find things made in Germany here, or Britain. It's hard to find things made in Britain. I'm sure they do. They just don't import them. Okay, we need to do his bow case. His bow case and the case for the arrows. So we're going to do the arrows. Maybe these two colors. I want them to be a little brighter. And you guys familiar with that plastic soldier company stuff? Why do they have such a problem like keeping stuff in stock? It's almost like it almost seems like they handle their model kits the same way that that GMT handles their game releases. Like, we need to do another printing. Like, why did you stop, you know? I don't understand what their methodology is for it. I'm going to do the bow case. Not in one of these colors. I'm going to add a little bit of like green. We need a little something different, or maybe even blue. That's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna add. Where's my shadow gray that's open? Something that has a little bit of a blue to it. Mix it up a little bit. This is actually might not be a bad color to highlight some edges on some of the panzas. I gotta experiment with that stuff. See what I'm happy with. I see lots of stuff on the internet. I see lots of stuff that looks more realistic than a real tank. I don't want that look. And I see lots of stuff that looks just corny. Contains 2-phenoxyethanol. Oh boy, that's a mouthful. Is there much difference in the Mongol and Hun light cavalry figures? I've seen some of both, and I thought they look very similar. So, they're not that different. Their hats, the Mongols seem to have more of the ones that cover more of their faces. Equipment-wise, they're really not that different. I mean, I guess, if they're not ancestors of each other, they're kissing cousins, and they come from the same part of the world, which means, they got access to the same. They would have access to the same similar linens and clothings and stuff like that. So, painting wise, they're not. I would make the Mongols a little bit more colorful, just because there's probably more trade during that time. But I wouldn't want to turn around and do a Mongol army right after these guys. Let's put it that way. It'd be a lot of the same, but some guys could go for both. This guy wouldn't work for a Mongol. I don't know that I've seen any Mongols that are bare-chested. Ever. A purist would say that all of these horses are too big. They should be more pony-like, but there's some people that go on rants about that. Oh, the horses really should be smaller. Well, I don't make them, There's one guy that I follow and kind of went on a rant about that, and the horses that the Normans used should be more like ponies. Well, that's all well and good, but nobody makes them that way, so. And if the Normans did use horses that were more pony-like, then they shouldn't really be charging in, it just. Certainly the ones I have from Old Glory are not ponies. They're rather large. But we all have our own little pet crusades about things that we don't like, that we don't accept, that maybe some manufacturer makes a certain way and we don't necessarily agree with it, or points of contention, or lines in the sand that we draw, that it's either this way or the highway, or I would never do this, right? That's silly for them to be a certain way, or there's some historical basis for some of it, and then there's just your own spin on how something looks. And I don't necessarily agree with the way some people paint certain things, and they may not like the way I do certain things, but it's your creative item, and you should be allowed to create it however you want. Like I am very anti putting stars on Commonwealth vehicles. You know, if it's not a U.S. vehicle, I do not want a white star on it. It just doesn't look right to me. I don't care if they did it occasionally. It doesn't look right. I saw a picture somebody that did, and it might have been like a 10 millimeter miniature or something like that. But they had like a Sherman 1 in the desert. As a matter of fact, I think it had first armor markings. And it was painted like you would see something at Alamein. Okay, so it was when the Shermans first started when the Shermans first started being used in the desert by the British forces, Commonwealth forces. I say that all the time. I don't mean to poo-poo Australians and New Zealanders and everybody else, but anyhow, and they had a roundel like the RAF, which I think is a wonderful marking, on the back of the engine compartment. That I could go for, okay, because that's their own marking. But why should they get screwed out of their own marking, which is cooler than a star, in my opinion? I'm not putting a white star on my Commonwealth vehicles. That doesn't look right. So that's a point of I ain't touching that. You know, I got that Archer. We're gonna paint it up at some point. I'm not putting a star on it. Doesn't look right. You know. Sizes of ponies, I don't care about. It just depends. We all have our own little crusades or preferences. I'm sure I got other things. We all have our preference to those things. Essex horses are all very similar. The best variety, I think, for horses are museum miniatures. The horses change for different ranges. Essex seem to use the same range of horses for most armies. Yeah, and that's the problem with Essex is I think it's not that they're dated or they're not good. I think they paint up really well. I've been really happy with the way my Essex stuff is painted. I personally don't get excited after I finish painting an Essex Army to run around and paint another one because their figure poses are real similar. Some of their horse poses are left something to be desired. And some of the poses on their infantry are just kind of like they don't want to be there either. You know, they're more dated, but they paint up nicely. They have nice faces. They have a nice variety of stuff. And as long as I don't buy them in an army pack, so I can piece them together how I want to, I'm relatively happy with them. I've done a couple of armies recently that had Essex figures, and I think they've turned out really well. You don't paint to satisfy other people. That's right. Screw other people. What's that saying I just saw recently? I said, I'm not on this earth to impress you. You know, I don't care if you like me or not. I'm not on this earth to impress you. When it comes to hobbies, I definitely believe, and if you don't have anything nice to say, just shut up. This could be somebody's therapy that keeps them from turning into a serial killer. Keep them happy, and society will benefit. Yeah, there's lots of things I see that people create on the internet. I don't have to tell them, hey, that thing sucks. Why? You know? Now, we'll say it about artists. Because about dead artists. I can't stand Picasso. God, I can't stand Picasso. But people's stuff, you know. I mean, the stuff I used to paint, I used to hate how it looks. You know, that's why I sold some of it. I couldn't stand looking at it anymore once I progressed to that point. And but I see other people's stuff that I like better than mine. I'm like, all right, I can up my game a little bit. You know, I'm not like, oh, I'll never get that. I'm giving up. It's just not me. So, yeah, I wouldn't do well working in an art gallery. Okay, let's put this little case that the arrows go into, and I was going to use this, or at least as a starting point, use that. We need to make sure we stray enough away from the skin tone so it doesn't look like they just blend together. But we don't have to go up to this level very much. We can only use this for the extreme highlights. And this, I believe, is a watery as hell color. So we're going to have to mix this. Oh yeah, I even hear the mixing ball in there. I may have to put it on the napkin. It's always good to have a look at your earlier work to see how you've progressed. What works now didn't work before. Painting, you always seem to be learning. Yep. See what works better. But it hasn't changed that much, so that's good, because then if I have to add to it, it doesn't look like it's a totally different painter. But, you know, just like these World War II figures I have. You know, I used to use semi-gloss to seal. Okay, well, that's easy to fix. But then this basing's terrible. The figure's fine. I don't have a problem with the figure. It's a little bit more subtle and realistic than I paint now. I force the shadows a little bit more now. But quality-wise, and that's why they're up here. At some point, I'm going to fix them up. Well, I already fixed these two guys up. I cogitated about. We made these guys were that carpet green as well. So I just got to decide if I'm even going to put any static grass on them. I might just use the clump foliage. I've started liking that a lot more. So, anyhow. I'll redo those guys slowly. I'm not going to be running those games at a convention. There he is, the Wolfman. Welcome. Good evening to you, I think. You guys are like way off. Yeah, I'm going to guess it's probably like, that's probably early afternoon. It's probably close to like 4 or something like that there, isn't it? Well, let's see. 180 degrees from us is like Afghanistan, and you're a little. So I'm gonna guess it's probably like 5 p.m. where you're at, something like that. Happy day to you, no matter what time it is there. 6:45. Okay. So, oh, you're exactly 12 hours from me. Look at that. Maybe I was wrong on the time zone. I thought Afghanistan was 180 degrees. Maybe it isn't. Welcome. Early evening. So we got this arrow case. Paint the arrows, the hooves, stirrups, the tip of the spear, and he's about done. And then we'll have 5 guys left. I really should say I've got 2 guys left because then we'll get all the light horse done. And while they're drying and doing stuff, then we'll start working on the command stand. And of course, the most fun thing about the command stand is I got to pick who's in that because I haven't even looked at that. We'll get to pick the commander, a standard bearer, and some other dude that can stand being around the commander. 6:45 where you are too. Excellent. Excellent. Welcome. So less than a week, I'll get to try some Victorian time period rules. I don't know that I'm going to bite and jump on that. Only because I've been scratching my World War II itch. It all started with frickin' Mitch giving me ideas about watching World War II movies, and I don't know that they're inspirational, but just kind of got me into the mood of it. And then I'm like, well, let me fix these tanks up. I want to buy more, and I'm not scared of anything anymore. I'm like, oh, separate link track. I'm like, bring it on, you know. Singapore, the cleanest city in the world, right? That's what it used to be known as. So you know what Singapore is known for? At least what I know it for. You can't chew gum there, right? And if I'm sure it's an urban legend, but if you don't flush like the public toilet, they'll like beat you with a cane. Which, I don't necessarily have a problem with. We've already told you once. You get like one warning, and then we need more of that here. People that don't know how to behave in public settings. I don't have a big problem with that because I don't live in a city, but I definitely don't believe in people that just misbehave just because they can. So that's what it's known in the outside world for. So I don't think that's bad, being known for having your act together. And I hear it's very clean. You can chew it but can't sell it. Okay. Very cool. Your neighbors. That's right. Yeah. When's Malaysia going to come and take that tiny little tip of that peninsula? Oh, let me not start on that. What's the Singapore flag look like? Is there a variation kind of like the American flag too? Oh man, I gotta look. You've been painting for days now and your streams are a great break. Excellent. Excellent. Hey, I've benefited from a lot of people's stuff, and I get inspiration from a lot of guys. You know, the other thing is I've started doing these vehicles. There's a guy who has a YouTube channel, and I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I don't want to try. But he's from Portugal. His first name is João. I think that's how you say it, which is John. I don't know how to say his last name, and I don't want to destroy it, so I'll leave it there. But he has these tons of vehicles, and they're not painted museum quality. As a matter of fact, he doesn't, I don't think he uses any single decal, so he hand paints everything, and it really works. And he's got so much stuff out there. It was like inspirational for me to like, F it, I need to work on my vehicles and just do them, and not cogitate about they need to be the best looking thing in the world, you know. Singapore flag. I used to know all my flags, but it's just like anything else you don't practice, you don't look at. Singapore flag. Okay. Okay, so it's a cross between Malaysia and Indonesia, right? Because Malaysia has the crescent and the stars up there, and that's the Indonesian colors. That makes sense. Cool. Malaysia flag. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of accurate between the two. Interesting. Cool. It's an educational channel. You got to keep using your brain, folks, or it's, you know, you're going to atrophy, you know? You have a game shop, yeah. I used to work at a game store many years ago, and we'd paint stuff in between things. That's when I used an airbrush and stuff like that. I don't think I'm going to get into an airbrush. Just seems like a pain in the ass. Like it, not really any benefit. I got to paint in the garage. It's hot out there. It's like Malaysia hot out there. The Malaysian has a star and stripes. Yep. Yeah, but that's interesting that you got the Singapore has like the crescent and multiple stars, but it's on the same background color of the Indonesia one, and which is, you know, right next door. It makes sense. Yeah. Cool. I bet if I had seen the Singapore flag flying, I might be able to identify what it was. Although I would have probably said it was something else nearby, but I knew it had to be. If I saw that, I'd be like, "Oh, that's got to be close to Indonesia because it's just got the same colors and everything." It's been raining cats and dogs here for weeks. Here too. The last couple days haven't been so bad, but you guys get a lot of lightning. I don't mind the rain so much. It's the lightning. I'm terrified of it. I'm absolutely terrified of lightning. Can't stand it. Yeah, it seems like we either have no rain or too much. But we don't have any drainage problems, so I guess we haven't gotten too much. It's better than paying to water your grass, though. And it does keep the temperature down quite a bit. But I can do without the lightning. I bet nobody sits around and says, "Man, I sure do miss the lightning. I wonder when we're going to have more lightning." It should never be invented. It's a bad idea. You got flash floods, yeah. I bet. I can't wait to do a Tamil army, and specifically the Chola Empire. And they were back in that area you guys are in. So I've got some articles and ideas and some stuff I've gotten off the internet to kind of do them justice. I think that'd be a cool army to do. The Chola. You have a flag with a tiger on it. What's not to like about that? Actually, I have a pet tiger that I picked up. A pet tiger. A tiger miniature. Think he can behave to be on the same stand with an elephant? Think they could behave long enough to do that? Or that's just too big an ask? Pakistan got the same problem. Yeah. So I built this Sarissa 15 millimeter model building yesterday. Ooh, are those guys out of business? I think they might be one of those. Sarissa sounds like those guys that made stuff in 20s I was looking at. And I think they went out of business. It's a great company, a real good kit. Yeah, you name your company Sarissa, but you don't make ancients. Right? Because it's like modern buildings and stuff like that. They make World War II stuff. That's a MDF stuff, isn't it? I'm going to, homework assignment time, I'm going to look at Sarissa's stuff today. I got some 20 millimeter buildings that I need to, it's been years. I overpaid for them when I got them. And I need to do them. The problem is they're like city fight stuff, and I'm not really interested in doing city fight things. You know, like the Arnhem or something like that. I don't care about that. You know, precision laser cut MDF. Okay, cool. What do you find is the best thing to glue for that? Epoxy? That's probably what I would use. I'm sure people use PVA. I have zero confidence in PVA. PVA is like, I don't want things to come undone, you know? You built DeCoster's house for epic Waterloo. What if I told you I've never heard of DeCoster? I didn't know Waterloo was on my birthday. Well, I'm different year. I didn't know that Waterloo was on my birthday. Carpenter's wood glue. Okay. But I'm not a Napoleonics guy. You know, the one day I never forget when it is? Meaning, when it comes around throughout the year, I'm like, oh, that's tomorrow. Barbarossa start date. June 22nd. I never forget that one. Maybe it's just my subconscious telling me I always get excited when Nazis and communists can start killing each other. No, I'm a big Eastern Front fan. That's the battle of battles. And my Audible book stuff is going to be on the Eastern Front, I think, for a while now, while I'm doing these vehicles, because there's so much stuff that has changed or has opened new doors since I've gotten out of World War II, just from having another viewpoint. And not necessarily that it's any more accurate than the other viewpoint, but at least it's you know, from the Russian archives, at least it's a different point to look at, and the truth is somewhere between them, you know. But Barbarossa Avalon Hill was a good game. I'm trying to think which is the one that I had. I think it was called Russian Front is the one I had. And it was actually like made in the mid 80s. The only thing I didn't like about it, it was a core level game. It was I like division level games because you can recognize the units from building models. Like, oh, I want to build a tank from that unit or this, that, and the other. When you look at cores, there's no tanks that are intrinsic or have markings for a certain core. So I'm like, you know. I played the Russian front one a couple times. The first video game I played a lot was this game called by SSI. It came out like in 1990, called Second Front, and it was a Gary Grigsby game, and it was EGA graphics, and I played the hell out of it. I believe it was called Second Front, and then they made a sequel to it called Western Front that added Italy and France as well. But you could tinker with them and add different units to each core, and move things around. And I played that quite a bit. Looked at their site; looks very good, but they're expensive. I could see people buying a kit, scanning it, and then printing off more kits to get their money's worth. Yeah, I could see people doing that, but I wouldn't do that. I paint so slow that I'm just trying to struggle with buying something and then finishing it immediately before I buy something else. That's why I try to sell you on the 3D printer. I'm like, I don't need lots of something. I just need to paint the stuff that I already have. Kit is so well planned. Don't they make 20 mil stuff? Ah, man, I gotta look now. I gotta look. I'll take a quick gander. Let's see, Sarissa models. Sarissa, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So I could find anything off the internet. You can find anything on the internet. For example, I believe it's called Sarissa Precision, isn't it? Oh, yes, wonderful. Something else that comes from the UK. Bloody land of toys. 20 mil. Industrial, Far East, Eastern Europe, North Africa, colonial, Gaslands. I'm not getting into Gaslands. I've given up on that. I don't have time for everything. It's a fun game, but it's all pieced together. What we got in Far East here? Villages. Ooh. I don't know that they're that expensive. Far East bundle. Yeah, it's pretty expensive. What's under industrial? I don't know about building destroyed things. Then you got to have rubble everywhere. Eastern Europe. Russian village bundle. Well, that's an exaggerated scale for that church. Holy cow. That's really exaggerated. I mean, it looks cute. There's some great resin stuff on Etsy. I mean, just great 3D printed stuff on Etsy, and I'm salivating to buy it. I won't do it. I won't touch it until I'm done with the other buildings I have, and then I can go hog wild. But I've got to earn it. Yeah, this stuff looks pretty good. Oh, they got a horse, a glider. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah, and a lot of this stuff I haven't painted it because I get into analysis paralysis. And I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do about this. And you just don't do anything. Instead of just jump in and paint your way out. I've gotten a lot better about that. Mr. Dirk, welcome. You say 3D printer is worth it for a store. Models are so cheap anyways. Yeah, I'm not getting into a 3D printer. I don't have the mentality for it. I get like this. I don't ever get frustrated. It just might take me a while to get something done, but we'll get through it. But just to be working on something and then like, oh, something didn't get configured right and it melted when you put it down or it didn't print correctly. I'm the wrong guy for that, you know. And I don't need, 14 Panzer III Gs, you know. I'm fine, I'm fine buying them in sets of 1 or 2 at a time and painting them as I go. I don't need that many things. I got stuff I have I didn't paint, so. I got 2 goals when I'm done with these guys, and to come back to them, we're gonna go World War II nuts. We're gonna do World War II vehicles nuts because I got enough infantry to play with. We're gonna solve the problem of Panzergray, Dunkelgelb, and Olive Drab. We're gonna solve all 3 of those things and come up with something. I've seen enough stuff on the internet, and I'm dying to experiment. So, I think I got the Panzergray solved. But one at a time. I want to do the Shermans next because they don't get any love, and they certainly could be made to look interesting. They're not a very attractive tank. And in U.S. service, they're even less attractive. What I say the other day, I said the Brits. I was messaging somebody back and forth that we have a common World War II interest that I've known for a while, and I said, the Brits have this thing about taking U.S. hardware and making it look better, just by the way it's painted. In my opinion, it looks better than the U.S. stuff. Just sprays freaking olive drab on it, and have a nice day, But the Brits have a way of taking a Stuart and making it look better. Pretty much everything. So just making them American, I've got to do something to give them some, because if you look pictures of them, they certainly look interesting. So that's going to be the first thing we're going to solve. We got all kinds of bags and baggage that I got in this last week, and I think I'll be happy with the results. And I've got like 5 or 6 Germans to do, so. And they're all going to have nicknames. And I'm going to attempt to paint the nicknames on the tank. That's the kind of shit I like. But I don't need that many tanks for my game. I mean, heck, 3 tanks on a board is probably too many. I think MDF is a pretty cool material, though. You don't ever have to clean up flash. That's a big plus. Heading out for lunch. All right, man. Thanks for stopping by, John. Appreciate you. There we go. Middlestone. This is the color they recommend for Dunkelgelb. It's too greenish. Well, it might be okay for a start, but it won't end up being that way. let's get the metallic cut around here and paint the tip of that. Okay, we got reins to do. Let's get something like that buff color or something like that. Maybe this Iraqi sand, is that what this is? Iraqi sand, yeah. Oh, we need to go check on one thing. I'm gonna put the intermission thing, and I will be back shortly. As soon as I find out where the heck that button is. Yeah, we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. All right. Let's do the hooves last. That's always kind of presents a problem. Let's do all the things that involve hair, which is quite a bit on this guy, actually. Manes, and I did the horse mane, but I guess I was distracted, so I didn't do the ox hair stuff. Ugh. Oh, we got stirrups to do too. Yeah, these guys have a lot of different little details to paint, which I guess what makes them really good figures. One of the reasons. Forged in battle. And it wasn't until I got these guys that I finally got a chance to paint these forged in battle figures. Been wanting to for a while. They just showed up on the scene too late. I already have too much stuff. I was looking at stuff that I sold on eBay. You can't see like pictures that you took of them, but you can see the listing, what the listing was called, and how much it sold for. I'm talking about, 5, 6, 10 years ago, right? I haven't sold stuff on eBay in a long time, but I did about 10 years ago sell a lot of stuff. 10, 12 years ago, something like that. And I see listings there of stuff I don't even remember having. Like, I don't remember having that. Well, I guess I don't miss it because I sold it. I looked at some things and I'm like, man, that only went for that? Man, I should have kept it. And then I looked at something, I'm like, man, that went for that? I should have had more of those to sell. I had some Wings of War aircraft that when Wings of War first came out, those little metal aircraft you could buy pre-painted, some of them were, people were paying absorbent amount of money for them. Like the little, the, the red triplane. If you had one of those, you could sell it for $100. That's like a $10 item you're selling for $100. So I ended up selling a couple of them. I don't think I had that one. I sold one for like $55. And then I also had another set of rules that I'm like, oh, that's right, I had these set of skirmish rules. And I listed them for 99 cents and they sold for 99 cents. So, you take the good with the bad. It's mostly good. eBay is so dangerous. I haven't done a lot of. Actually, I bought 3 things off eBay recently, and hell, I'll show you because you weren't on here last night. I can always use a distraction. These are some parts for my Shermans from a company called Value Gear, and this is they consider this Allied tank bits. So these are like little packs and jerry cans and things that you put on the back of your Sherman to make them look all different. And they actually sent me another one too. So I don't know whether there were so many bits they couldn't fit in this one, or they sent me an extra half order more, but I appreciate them. Either way, I gave them a good review. That's for my Shermans. Here's some sandbag armors, also for the Shermans, and this also made by Value Gear. And this is specifically geared towards the Plastic Soldier Company M4s, which definitely need some detail added to them, but it gives you like 4 sandbag fronts, and every one of them's different. So you can make 4 tanks that are totally different from that. And then I got decals from, you can't see the white ones because of the backing paper, but the white stars. I mainly wanted the, Value Gear. Yeah, their stuff is really good. It's definitely a value if you get more than what you asked for. It's in the name. Some white stars there for my American shirts, which I have a fair number of them. Is that what they're called? Yep, Value Gear. Yeah, they're on eBay. I think that's the name of their channel. And speaking of Shermans, here's my Sherman Conundrum. And this is stuff I bought really many years ago, relatively cheap. Like this is a Corgi die-cast Sherman. This is how it comes painted. It'll be repainted. And it scales almost perfectly to 1/76 scale, which I actually prefer 1/72, but I'll mix in between them. It doesn't matter. Well, this thing's just too plain. It needs some packs up here and some logs on the side, but we'll see what we can do this. We'll do a before and after. And I have 2 of these. The other one has already been based in black. Here. But, I take it apart because, you want the turret to be able to turn. This is what it looks like on the inside. Are these made in Malaysia? Oh, it doesn't say. I bet it is, or Thailand. Doesn't say. Well, they're Corgi little die-cast things you get at a toy store. I think they were like less than $5 a piece. So I got 2 of those. These are M4A3s. And this is a Matchbox 1/72, which looks like a monster compared to it. This is it already comes this way. A Forces of Valor Mine Roller M4A1. I'm not going to use the mine roller part. I think I'm just going to put this thing. I need to get this sorry looking figure off of it and put a better looking figure in it. And so this one actually has a lot of little things on it. So this might actually look okay with only a couple things back here. Is this one? Where's this one made? Made in China. Sons of bitches. Just throw that in the garbage can. These half tracks, I thought they were too big, but they scale almost perfectly to the right scale. They made 2 different markings. They made one that was like a Marine Corps one. I think it's this one. Yeah, this is the Marine Corps one, and this is the Army one, but they'll all be repainted. Make them look individually. So 3 M3 half tracks. I won't need more than that. And then these are the M4s. Made by Plastic Soldier Company, the very first Plastic Soldier companies that came out. So these guys are actually 2002, made in England. Wow, not Scotland. They want you to know that it's made in England, not Wales, England. But they're very crude. They don't even have the machine gun spot there for it. So we're gonna use a little piece of green stuff and do the little ball mount, put that on there and put a piece of sprue. Obviously add antennas and stuff like that. But these guys need some love and they need some stuff on them. They got the sand skirts built in, which I'm not a big fan of that, but we'll let it go. It's hard to find pictures of them, of the sand skirts left on there. And then this is actually one that I completed. I painted this, I don't know, 25 years ago probably. And this is a Britannia Models Sherman Firefly. And it's painted in the same style that, look, I even painted the markings on myself. For 7th Armored Division. I can't get that to focus. Anyhow, this is a Britannia Models, which is one of my least favorite. Their models are okay. I don't care for their figures at all. They're goofy looking. But yeah, this is my Sherman. The Firefly is not going to be, I just decided to put it in here. But so this is what I'm going to work on when I get back from my convention. And repaint. You do stuff like you experiment on the Plastic Soldier Company or the die-cast one, things that are easy to replace if you mess up. You do the Matchbox one last after you've got it down, how everything's looking like, So, okay. That's my Sherman land. There's a couple of guys that have pretty good videos on how to paint Sherman tanks and I'm gonna follow one of them exactly and see how it looks, and then tinker on it from there. It looks pretty good, the end result. So, and then of course we'll have to play each one of those vehicles in Armored Commander and see how well they do in that game. Why are you so watery? Why are you so watery? All right, let's do the stirrups on this guy. Yeah, things have come a long way. The Plastic Soldier Company has come a really long way. Some of their early stuff is very basic, and some of their stuff is really like the M10 tank destroyer. I think if you know what one of them looks like, the original ones had no breach, which you think, well, what's the big deal? Well, it's out in the middle of the area where they operated in. Let's see. Does my Archer have one? Yes, it does. Okay. So you can see it's kind of like this. You see the breach of the gun here. You can't avoid seeing it. Well, the early M10s from Plastic Soldier Company, the early model of the M10, none of this is visible. So it's like literally like flat. So it's obviously something that's missing that's pretty significant to the look of the vehicle. And the later ones do have it. But when you buy one, how do you know whether you're getting an early one or a late one? You don't want to go and buy one and get the one without the breach. So, there's stuff like that. But yeah, they're a good value. The shipping on stuff is just absurd these days. You got a nice model of a Panzer IV-D. But yet their 3Gs aren't very good. They don't have the turret baskets to them. So, but you can get those from Plastic Soldier Company. Oh, did I say Plastic Soldier Company? I'm sorry. I meant to say Armor Fast. Those guys I have are Armor Fast, not Plastic Soldier Company. I don't have anything Plastic Soldier Company yet. Armor Fast. I'm sorry. Yeah, see, I say, I mean to say one thing and say something else. Oops. I should be a politician. Yeah, but they do it on purpose. They lie to you on purpose. Yeah, I don't have anything Plastic Soldier Company yet. I'm at Armor Fast. Those Shermans were Armor Fast. And that M10 is also Armor Fast. Yeah, they're both made of plastic and they both come from the UK, so yeah, those are Armor Fast. 2002. Plastic Soldier Company wasn't even out yet. But those Armor Fast stuff, they're of a mixed quality because the early stuff is very basic, like those are. And but you don't have to put all the running gear and stuff together, which I'm not afraid of anymore. I actually enjoyed it because I didn't have really a time frame that I needed to get it done by, but I'd rather not do all that stuff. And Plastic Soldier Company has a much larger variation of stuff that they make than Armor Fast. Armor Fast is kind of limited. Armor Fast are even a better deal than Plastic Soldier Company, but given I'd rather have something that has more detail and looks a little better, so I don't mind. It's still like $10 a vehicle though, Plastic Soldier Company. By the time I add in like freight and stuff, you can get like 3 packs like $27. It's like $10 or $12 shipping. Should have a look at Rubicon models. Those are great. I will. I'm gonna look at them right now. Do they do 20s? Because that's the only World War II scale I do. Rubicon models. The Cromwells are the nicest thing I've seen, and they're out of production. Cromwells were freaking beautiful. Rubicon. They only make Romans. What? Rubicon models. Let's see what we got here. USA. Oh, they only do 28 mil. Yeah, I don't do 20. Do they only do 28? Yeah, I don't do 28s. No, I'll still look at them. Let's see. Let's look at Italy. That's got to be strange. Oh yeah. Oh, those are expensive. What do they make for the Soviets? Vehicles. Oh yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I know 28 mils a thing, but I was never a Warhammer guy, so I don't have that appeal. And I've got all the 20 millimeter figures that I want, and I have most of them aren't even made anymore. That's more of a reason I do them. So, and I've got probably, I don't know, 60 or 70 infantry figures done from 20 years ago. And other than wanting to rebase them so that they look a little bit more modern, I'm pretty happy with how they look. Have a look at the Stuart. All right, I will. Don't tell me what to do. I might just do it. I got to get real close. Let's see here. Oh, they make France? Oh, the civilian cars. That's awesome. Well, there's somebody that's doing... Oh, domestic furniture set. Oh, man. Well, I'm still not doing 28. Sorry. The stuff could be handed to me for free. I wouldn't do it. It just takes too long to paint. Vehicles. All right, let's look at this Stewart. Cute little Stewart tank. They make lots of Shermans. Ducks. Those things are ugly as shit. Oh, they call it a Seep? Scout car, M3A1. Let's look at this Stewart. Okay, you can build a mid or a late. You can also build M5A1 Reese. I can't call it Recce. Kangaroo. Huh. Open hatches, spare road wheel, hedgerow cutter. Oh, hedgerow cutter. Nice. So why do they have this hedgerow cutter in this box art on the M5A1 in the Pacific Island? I don't remember them ever using them out there. They may have. I'll be honest with you, Pacific's not my area of expertise. M3A1 Scout car. Yeah, that's handy for Russians. They like those. Kangaroo. Boing, boing. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Pacific. Just doesn't seem like it'd be really well balanced. You know, the Japanese tanks are cute, but man, what a piece of shit. And, you know, if they were to encounter something like a Matilda, you know, you basically have to tie a bomb to yourself and, like, crawl underneath it. And they did that. You can't. The Japanese don't have anything to take out a Matilda with, other than, you know, a IED. Matildas are cool. I'm not sure I know what a Kangaroo Stewart is. I know that the Kangaroo was an armored personnel carrier that was based on, like, the Priest, right? It's basically a priest with no gun used as an armored personnel carrier by, I bet it's the Australians that did it. Otherwise, why would they call it a Kangaroo? Yeah, that's good. Options are good. And you got spare parts and you can do other little things. And how do you take out a Matilda if you're the Japanese? Strap a bomb to yourself and crawl underneath it. Naval gunfire. That's how you take it out. That's a lot of trees if you're doing something like Kokoda Trail or Malaya, Burma. Jungle was so thick in some parts of the Pacific it was more infantry. It'll Larry do some simple construction kits in 1/72nd, 2 kits to a box. Welcome, Jeffrey. Yeah, those came out. They've released those since I got out of it. I really just I want to paint the stuff that I have, and I don't want to do a shitty job at it, you know. And I got places to put it in, so. But I have like one of everything. I don't think I have two of. Well, that's not true. I've got multiple Panzer 4H's. I got two of them and a J, and a G, and an F2 and an F1. Panthers, I have one complete, one to build, and one that I'm not going to be able to build because I'm missing a barrel and it's shitty quality anyways. What else do I have multiples of? Two T-34-85s, two T-34-76s, but unfortunately they have the later cupula, which wasn't until after Kursk. They have the better one that has the periscopes on it. That's I think the Shermans. I got multiple Shermans. Everything else is one of these, one of those, one of this other one of the. I got a Panzer II-F, a 2C, and a 2D. I'm sorry, a B, a C, and an F. But I'm perfectly happy painting the stuff that I have. Experiment. You played rapid fire one time. You used naval guns. That's crazy ordnance. It is. Yep. I don't like the infantry rules in those type of games. They're too you know, command decision, rapid fire, spearhead. Infantry is just kind of an afterthought. It just doesn't have the detail that I want in it. I'd play it. I just not motivated to build stuff for it. Can't say I've ever used naval ordnance in a game. That movie that Mitch told me you should watch just has the most vague title ever. Well, one of the most vague title ever. Because there's lots of vague titled movies. It's called 1944. That's about Estonian soldiers on the Eastern Front. Has a scene where the movie's kind of interesting in that it switches sides. It starts with one viewpoint from one side, and then it switches halfway through to the other one. But they have the Prince Eugen off in the distance bombarding these Russians. So you got 8-inch guns bombarding, T-34-85. It's pretty interesting. And they got the right profile and everything for the ship, so they went through the effort of doing all that. The Kangaroo was originally based on the Canadian Ram tank. It used M3 Grant running gear with a molded hull. The tank was obsolete, so they removed the turret and used it as an APC. Okay, so it wasn't a Priest. So it looked kind of like a Priest, though, because the Ram had that kind of a superstructure, I guess. Okay. There must be a different Kangaroo that you can use in the Stuart, because the Stuart isn't the same at all. That's the converted Sextons. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. And the Sexton is basically a Priest with a 25-pounder, if I remember correctly. Okay. So do I get partial credit for that one? The Ram tank wasn't that bad of a tank. It had, a 6-pounder in it? 6-pounder is not a bad gun. You did an attack on a town, and we use the rapid fire rules. You appreciate the platoon setup for the American infantry when house clearing. Yeah, where you clear them out of houses, you just level the place, and then you pick through the rubble. They're in the town. What do we do? Get rid of the town. Okay, this is the hoof color, and then this guy's done. Oh, we still got a belt to do. Damn it, still something else. Let's just do that now. An unfrocked priest. priest that's doing penance. It's unfrocked. But they had a model of those ducks. Definitely one of my least favorite vehicles of World War II. Because there's lots of vehicles that I like. And I just mean aesthetically, okay? That's, as modelers, painters, that was what we're interested in, aesthetically. Aesthetically, your least favorite vehicle? I don't like those ducks at all. That's those amphibious Jeeps. They look silly. I'm not a big fan of Schwimmwagens, but at least they look better than ducks. The ducks are just ugly. As you people across the pond say, to my eye. They look ugly to my eye. What are some of your least favorite vehicles from World War II? Like if you had to build a scenario and it said, "Hey, you got to buy 3 of these," you're like, "Oh, I hate those. I don't want to. I don't want to build them." I'm sure there's lots of stuff. I just can't think of any right now. Russians, I don't like those captured Panzer IIIs that they captured from Stalingrad, and then they put a what did they put in them? Did they put a Russian gun in them? I'm pretty sure they put a Russian crash boom in them. And so it's basically a Soviet Stug. I think they look silly. Yes, some 20 mil Ram Kangaroos and a Badger flamethrower. I'm not sure I know what the Badger flamethrower is. From We Friends Models. Made troops for the Kangaroos by cutting up spare British infantry and basing them on a round base. Oh, cool. And you could just drop them in there. Cool. I got some British guys here that are seated. I think these are AB models. They may not be. And I may use some of these guys to put in the... Oh, these guys have Stens. And this guy's got a Enfield. I thought I was going to use them for the Archer. See, the Archer is a good vehicle to have in a skirmish game because it's open top, so it can catch grenades in there. And I mean open from a standpoint of a good vehicle to have in a skirmish game from the standpoint of play balance. Like, you know, it doesn't have a machine. I don't think it even has a machine gun. So. We Friends Models. Sounds like something that would make miniatures for that. What's that anthropomorphic game? Burrows and Badgers. It looks like it would. We Friends. Oh, we have a squirrel family and the bear and and it's taking forever to paint this guy, but you know what? However long it takes, it's one step towards the goal. So it doesn't really matter how long it takes, as long as you're making progress. And what's the worst thing that can happen? I don't get these guys done in time. Okay. Well, they'll be closer to getting done. All right, we're going to call this guy done. Now there are two left of these light horse. And they both have shields. We're going to do this guy next. All right, how am I doing on water? Comets. I don't like comets. Comets are ugly. And honestly, I don't like Cromwells either. I don't like them. I don't think Shermans are attractive, but I think they're better looking than a Cromwell. I think Cromwells are ugly. Which is funny because I think Crusaders are gorgeous. I think Crusaders are a beautiful tank. Don't care how effective, ineffective, how often they broke down. That stuff's not important to me. Matilda 1s are ugly as shit too. But the 2s are awesome. Yeah, 2s are awesome. Awesome looking. So you got to work on the running gear. This guy's got MC Hammer pants too. What's up with that? All right, so we got 2 dark ones and this guy's got to have a light color horse. Got to. Early war tank battles are the best. Panzer II versus cruisers. Yeah. Maybe Panzer IIIs versus cruisers. Panzer IIs really suck. I mean, they're cute looking, but a 2-man turret's no good. Yeah, I like the desert stuff. Panzer II, Panzer III. I think Panzer III is a pretty good looking tank, other than this version, which I got this by accident. This is supposed to be a 3F, and I got no turret basket and a 37mm gun. I just don't like how it looks without the basket in the back. But we'll use it as is. This is going to be part of one of the Panzer divisions that didn't get the latest stuff when they went into Russia. He's only a Facebook one-man operation. He has kits of vehicles and tanks that you don't normally see. He intends wargaming and model shows in Scotland. Yeah. MMS, another company out of business. Sucks. Their stuff is awesome. Their instructions kind of suck though, but the quality of their castings are really, 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 really good. So, cruisers versus Italian tanks are fun. I think cruisers versus Panzer IIIs is perfectly balanced. Cruisers have about the same amount of armor. 2-pounder's a decent gun. It's, it's better than its caliber makes it out to be. You think, 40mm, that's not going to be very good. It's not a bad gun. It can't do shit for HE, but that's okay. Crusaders are beautiful. And they're a 3-man turret, aren't they? Yep. Yeah. Don't like Valentines. They're too short. Probably good for the Valentine. Just as a model, I don't really care for them. Where's that color that I pulled out for the horse? Camouflage orange ochre. Italian tanks. M1139s are ugly. M1340s aren't bad. I think the L6s are cute. They're a little light tank. Early war. Yeah, I don't like 1940 and earlier. For the Germans just look ugly as shit. You know, they got those stupid bump cap berets. They just look dumb as shit. Poland would be okay, except I don't like the white crosses on the German tanks. It's like, what are the Swiss doing here? You know, I could just give them regular crosses and move on. The Polish vehicles are cool. Panzer IIs, yeah, I got 3 of them. Got 1 started. We're a weird place to put the driver's hatch. Yeah, this is an all metal thing from Ratham. We just messed a little bit with it. We haven't even done the little rusty muffler yet. Panzer IIF. No big guns, yeah. You got those cartridge fed, magazine fed autocannons. Okay. That's here. Late war had cooler tanks, but the range of the guns killed wargaming it. I don't like later war because I like my Germans in Panzer Gray. I just do. I think they look more German-like. Now, given you've got a lot more options with the late war stuff, with the personalizing them and stuff, but I like Germans in Panzer Gray. I got plenty of late war stuff, but there's a couple theaters that don't get a lot of play in, and I just mean in Europe because I don't think the Pacific gets much play, but I'm not really interested in the Pacific. Tunisia, Tunisia and Italy don't get a lot of representation, and neither does 43 after Kursk when they're fighting all the way to the Dnieper River and stuff like that, where the Germans still had Panzer IIIs that were definitely outclassed by that point. And yeah, those areas don't. Those areas in particular don't get a lot of representation. Oh, I didn't mean to do this. I meant to use brown because I did one of them with this, and it just takes too many layers to get up to the color. We need to do brown. Oops. Well, at least I caught it. Where's my chocolate brown? I mean, even this dark brown would work fine. I just don't want to use black. Let me get the chocolate brown out. There it is. Being from Malaysia, I want to do Pacific, but the terrain build is a pain. Yeah. I just think it's too much infantry and not. I just don't think the Japanese are that interesting. I mean, don't get me wrong. It'd be fun to play the Japanese and do crazy shit, you know? And I've got some cool Japanese figures, don't get me wrong, with comical looking little Japanese guys. Yeah, does that affect you? Your see, I don't. I live here in Florida. I live in the United States, and I don't want to do anything that has American history in it. I'm like, it doesn't appeal to me, you know. Like American Civil War, I don't care to ever play American Civil War. So I know that appeals. Sometimes that appeals to certain people, and sometimes it doesn't matter. You know, I guess it probably depends on the individual. With that said, I do have a little Hago, which is cute. It is not a very good casting. But I have this stuff from my early days. And in my early days, I'm like, well, let me get one of these and one of these and one of these. And if I want to do the Pacific, I can do this one. And if I could do, instead of like, dude, do finish something. Not like, have bits of pieces and nothing to show for it. But that was the younger me. It's easier for newbies from here to relate. I could see that. You got to dumb it down for the locals. We got to do that here too. Oh, there's no Americans in it. I'm not interested. Come on, man, live a little. Yeah, I get it. Folks, almost zero World War II knowledge. I remember when we did naval, I had several people that I game with, and they only wanted to do Pacific stuff, and I'm like, oh, all right, we can do ABDA stuff, because the Pacific after Guadalcanal just isn't worth doing. It's really unbalanced. And if I did it these days, I would just like, all right, let's play it twice, and you can switch sides, and it doesn't matter that it's unbalanced. Just see how you do on the other side. But I had a couple guys that were all like, "Oh, I got to do American." I'm like, "No, no, the Mediterranean's where it's at." No. But he played several things. We even did a campaign in the ABDA, and that was pretty cool. The early years there, with the taking of Indonesia, and if Force Z had not been intercepted by aircraft and they get into the landing zone. Historical what ifs, not like, absurd stuff like what if the Yamato and the Bismarck and the Littorio all got together? No, that's absurdity stuff. I'm talking about things that almost happened. Like, here's the makeup of the whole force. The problem is they just didn't intercept. They got intercepted by the Japanese aircraft. So I do a bigger scale and simpler rules with local theater for best mix. Yeah, it probably does better. You're trying to get people into it. I've given up. Nobody's gonna want to play with the anal retentive rules I use. But hey, I'm doing this. I'm doing them for me. So They're pretty much the opposite of DBA. Nothing vague at all. You get to pinpoint exactly where the grenade lands. That's what I like for World War II. And you can't do huge actions, but that's okay. I don't have to paint huge forces. Be right back in a jiffy. I don't even think there's any rules for Japanese in face of battle. As a matter of fact, I know there aren't any. That wouldn't stop me from doing it. You could extrapolate all that stuff. Not the Japanese right here. No. They're nice figures. Guys with flags and stuff. One guy has a horn. Right here. They're in here. I hate when I can't find shit. Not pretty organized. Nope. Alright, I guess I have to give up now. What the hell happened to him? Got like two or three squads worth of Japanese, all individual figures, combat miniatures, and one Hago. Knee mortars, a couple guys with samurai swords, a couple guys with glasses. They were probably racist figures. Exaggerated. The Japanese have really bad vision because all the World War II figures I have, none of them have any glasses except the Japanese. There's like 3 or 4 guys with glasses. Alright, I'm not going to give up. We're going to find them. I want to show them to you. Up there. Not there. There they are. Look right over them. Sneaky Japanese. This is back when Japanese vehicles sucked. But I swear by them now. I don't know if I'd want to drive anything that wasn't Japanese. Here's a Hago. This is not a good quality model. But it's a cute little thing. Cute little thing. But look at the rough texture on this thing. It'd paint up just fine. Have to put a little machine gun barrel in the... There's a one-man turret. And the guy's got to be the commander of the tank, and the loader, and the gunner, and the machine gunner back here in the back. So if you wanted to use the machine gun, what they'd do is they would turn this thing around and advance like this. So you'd have a whole machine gun, and you would have the commander with the machine gun. You'd have to advance towards the enemy like that. Otherwise, use the 37 millimeter. I don't know, this seems like it'd be a fun challenge to paint this and make it look cool. I think it would look cool. I like playing Japanese and World of Tanks. I like playing little guys like this. World War II Japanese figures. Yeah, I got about 20, 25 of them. Look at this guy with a horn. That's awesome. That's awesome. Got a couple broken gun barrels. That's some kind of an officer here. Guy running. Guy with a cap with a rifle that's about to break. It sucks. Yeah, that's what happens when they're all thrown in here. Here's a guy who must be really hot because his helmet's pushed back on his head. Officer with a samurai sword. What are these guys? He's got a pistol? What's those, Nambu 95s or something like that? That's an extremely unreliable pistol. And so's their machine gun, honestly. But that's why you put a bayonet on your machine gun. Maybe I don't have that many guys with glasses. Guy with a little field cap. I guess they had little bolts on their helmets, little rivets on them. Never did really notice that. Oh, here's a guy with glasses. He's an officer with glasses on. See if I can do better than that. Looks like that guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark that gets the medallion burned on his hand. What else do we got here? Guy cut the netting on his helmet. Pretty cool looking. Knee mortar. Knee mortar and guy next to him. Hey, when's my turn to drop that on there? Guy running with a knee mortar. Another guy hollering. These figures have a lot of personality. Okay, so only one guy with glasses. Maybe that's the only guy. The officer has the glasses. Everybody else is just blind. What about this guy? Oh, this guy's got a rifle as well that broke off, and he's got glasses, and he's yelling. He's not having a good day. Another guy with glasses running. Another guy with a rifle. Like a rifle bipod. Or is that chopsticks? I don't know. Either way, here's another light machine gunner. Laying prone. This time. These are all combat miniatures. There's the guy, another guy with a rifle broken, unfortunately. I'm going to keep these rifles. I'm not saying they can't be replaced. He's another guy kneeling to shoot. That apparently was a thing, is the Japanese were trained to kneel shooting. Oh, finally, a guy with a grenade. And a shovel on his back. He trained everybody to shoot kneeling except this guy. He wants to stand up and be the hero. The guy with a cap. And last but not least, I don't want to bend it back because it might get wearing out, but banner, I'm going to put a guy with a rising sun flag. That's my nips. Like 2 squads worth, I think. They had a pretty big squad. I think they had like a 13-man squad or something like that, if I remember correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, I got like 2 squads worth. I just picked them up on a whim. Yeah, the terrain would be brutal to do the terrain for this stuff. And now you can see how crude this thing is. I think it would paint up okay. You can see that stuff is mismolded and stuff on it. Anyhow, we zoomed in a little bit there. I think that was probably helpful to get the idea of what these guys look like, but you know, I would be, if I had to do Japanese stuff, I'd probably do New Guinea or something like that. Burma. You know, doing a Pacific Island like Taro or something like that just doesn't interest me. With just overwhelming force on one side. Maybe do stuff at night, a night attack. That would probably be okay. Well, I guess I lost everybody. Oh well. I guess they weren't interested in Japanese either. No, I like the figures. I look forward to painting them. Alright, now I gotta take a pee break. Be right back. Marco, there you are. Good morning. Yeah, I guess the Japanese bored everybody. I think they're cool figures. I just not into the Pacific Theater. I said I'd probably have to do Burma. You could do what? You could probably pull some Lees out there, right? Because I think the Commonwealth forces used Lees. I'm not saying you need a bunch of tanks, but you know, like two. You know, all you need is a couple tanks. Yeah, the terrain would be a lot of stuff to do. A lot of stuff to do on the terrain. Hi, honey. Yeah, I'm tired of these guys. Enough already. Enough of these bastards. Am I going to be wargaming with all this World War II stuff? I don't know. I got to learn the rules again. I don't know that I'll be wargaming with other people. I may be soloing it. I certainly need to solo it while I relearn the rules that I haven't played in 20-something years. But mainly, I wanted to get all my vehicles done, and I wanted to paint some vehicles. I actually wanted to get some new ones. I'm not letting myself do it until these are painted. Until these are almost all painted. There we go. Leave myself an out. But yes, with the intention of playing with them. So I'm not building them as models. They'll be on little stands just like my Russian stuff is. Yeah. Just like these guys. And these are crude because, well, they're crude resin things that they're really inexpensive. I mean, I think these are like $7 or something like that each. But they turned out pretty well. I'm happy with them. But they're on stands and they're magnetic, you know. But yeah, I've got like 30 or something vehicles, so to do. Just tinking around. I haven't messed with World War II stuff in 25 years or something like that. It's what I started with. It's the period I'm really interested in. It's just not practical for wargaming because I want to play at a scale that's just not practical. You know, it's important to me where the grenade lands. So you're playing real small scale stuff at that point, and it may not appeal to other people. So I may end up solo gaming it. I got to learn how to play it, and I might do some solo gaming it, and of course we'll film all that if that's the case. But I just want a game that plays a World War II game that creates an interesting narrative, and that's what skirmish does for me. It tells a good story. So they do look cool, but they'd be cooler if they sported more spears and ballistae. Yeah, I got plenty of those. So I want to paint some vehicles. And I had a hell of a time build. I had a hell of a fun time building models last weekend. A hell of a fun time. You know what? And I miss there not being conventions. Debellus contemporaneous. Yeah, yeah, but no, these rules. See, I'm used to rules that are the opposite of DBA. Very specific, nothing vague, and that's actually what I like. I don't like this vague shit, where you can't find stuff, and it doesn't matter. I'd rather the rules move slow but aren't vague than be vague but move fast. But I got plenty of infantry to play with. I've got them painted. I got to rebase them so they look better. And just painting vehicles, whether I play with them or not. I'll paint them for the. I've actually never played with vehicles in the rules, but I've read them, and it looks like would be a great narrative. It looks like it'd play a lot like a movie. So we'll see. But that's what I really want to be doing right now is painting vehicles, not these bastards. So if there wasn't a convention happening in a week, I would just be painting vehicles, and nobody would know the difference. So maybe I won't commit to doing any new projects for the spring. And just we get done when we get done. If I don't get a new DBA army done, I don't get a new DBA army done. So work's been pretty frustrating the last couple months. And I want to do what I want to do, damn it. Like when interpreting the rules feels like deciphering Maya hieroglyphs, just like DBA. Yeah, getting tired of not being able to figure shit out with the rules after playing the game this many times. Just getting old. So why frustrating at work? Easy version. Busy, lots of incompetence, people changing their mind more than normal. Hot as unbelievable shit. I'm just tired of the heat. So that's why I basically said I'm not going to Mitch's place and playing until it cools down. I don't want to deal with any heat when I'm not at work. I got to deal with it at work. People that do work for you that just are a pain in the ass to deal with. Just the usual, but even more. So, people getting nastier by a day. You do something construction related, if I remember correctly, and I wish I didn't. It's a little too late for that, but tired of dealing with people that suck at their job and don't get fired. So, it's okay to make mistakes, but the same bullshit every time. It just gets old. So, I don't like doing anything that is even remotely like my job when I'm not at it. So that's why I'm hot all the time at work. So I don't want to be hot when I'm not at work. So if I have to game in somewhere it's hot, I'd rather not game. Um, you're in medicine. Oh, paperwork. Yeah, everything just turns into a paper trail and miscommunication. And honestly, Historicon kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. Not because I didn't have a good time, but I'm a little done with killing myself to promote these rules, which aren't mine, that people come up with excuses not to play. So I'm gonna I'm gonna be a little more hands offish moving forward and do what I want to do. So like at Historicon, to give you an example, and don't get me wrong, we had a great time. There was things where I would have wanted to like. There's a couple of demos that I would have wanted to play. The people were sitting there with nobody playing them, but I'm like, no, I got to get back at 2 because we're running a game at 2, and then you get back at 2 and like nobody shows up to play the game. Well, we could have just canceled it and played the demo. So I'd like a little bit more freedom. Let's put it that way. So that's all. I want a little bit less responsibility. So, and it's not that I don't want to be creative. I want to be painting something else. That's all. So we'll see what happens. Just want to avoid problems when I'm not at work, you know? Like, oh, there's something I don't like. Fuck it, I'm going this way. I don't want to deal with that. And it's years of just, and it's really just kind of come to a head recently. Like, okay, what I got to do this week? I got to do all the score sheets. I got to do the awards. I got to do all. I'm like, I don't want to do any of that shit. But if I don't do it, nobody else does it. Well, I'm not going to drop it at the last minute, but I may just say, fuck it, I'm not going to run any DBA in the spring. And I'll play it if other people can. If not, I'll play it on my own. And I want to go to a show and have a good time, not have responsibilities. I mean, I've been doing it for freaking 16 years. Yeah. What's the name of the person that runs around in the Congress and gets votes? Minority whip or majority whip? I don't want to be the whip person anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of I got like people that I frequently play with. and I'll send them not frequently, but I see them frequently enough, and I'll send them a message. Hey, you coming to the con? When is it? How do you not know when the fucking con is? There's only 2 a year. You know, it's like you're dealing with a bunch of blind people. I'm tired of driving the short bus. And not everybody, you know, we got the local people, you know, they know what's going on, but, you know, I'm just kind of tired of being the coordinator. It's just exhausting with, you know, work. Now, let the people that are retired do that. I know lots of people that are like, oh, now I'm retired and I don't have time for it. You know, if I'm going to retire and have less time for hobbies, I'm not going to retire because you're doing it wrong. So I'm tired of being the minority whip. You're doing all this running around and not more people are showing up. So it's like, you know, what am I doing it for a power trip? I'm a fan of leaving people alone. Okay, I don't need to have a following or oh, let me do this so I'll feel important. That's not this guy. I'm like, I'm doing a whole lot of running around for somebody else's rules. All right, is that good enough for him? Yeah, I think so. It'll lighten up a couple little places on him, then it'll be good to go. And I'm not playing anything else that's competitive again. And that's not because I have bad experiences playing competitive stuff. I'm just like, I'm more interested in cool things happening, like a good narrative, you know, crazy shit happening. I mean, not like, you know, charging in like a moron. You know, you always try to win. It doesn't really matter whether it's a tournament or not, but Okay, I'm happy with that color. Now this guy's got some MC Hammer pants. I could think we're going to make them blue. Let's get us a blue that we're happy with. Dark blue. Darkish blue. When I was working, I had only off 3 times to do 5% of things I wanted to. Now I'm retired and I have time to do 30% of them. Yeah, and I know lots of people that do have less time off. Like, then you don't need to retire. Oh, I don't have any money. There's one guy that was like a big organizer. Was like, oh, I'm going to go all this stuff. I don't think he's been to a single con ever since he retired. Well, you're freaking doing it wrong. You know? I'm not going to retire then. F it. Yeah. Yeah, frequently you run into, people that are gets old leading the blind around. There's a saying in Spanish. It says, "Tú tienes que ser el interesado." That means you need to be the interested party. You can't be like, "Oh man, it's so hot in here. Man, it's so hot. I wish it was colder. Oh man, it's so hot. Go turn the freaking AC down." "Oh no, I can't do that." Well, you need to be the interested one. "Man, I wish there was a con. Man, I wish I could play." Well, find out. I've only posted it umpteen freaking times. This gets old after doing it for like 15 years and you don't see any progress. You know? It's having to fight the same battles day in, day out, just like at work. So. And then you got like, oh, everybody's playing Art de la Guerre. Well, whoever put Art de la Guerre together definitely did less effort than I did trying to round everybody up for DBA. I'm like, then go play your game. I'm not going to play it. It's too many figures. It's not my thing. I'm not going to learn another tournament style game. I've looked at it. It's still got some of the same problems I have with this. So we'll see. It's not killing my creative energy though. I still want to be creative and paint stuff. It just I want to do something different. I want to do something different right now, and I can't because I got to get these bastards done for the show. That I'll have a good time at. I just, you know, I don't want to be committed. Oh, this guy's got a lasso on him. Looks like it, anyways. Um, yep. Yeah. Well, I did it for me. I mean, it's fun to do, but I don't see any. I don't see any improvement. So there was a guy like in Ohio that was supposedly like the big mover and shaker in Ohio, and he got fed up and burned out, and the whole community, TV and DBA in Ohio died. But he was doing shit that I wouldn't even consider doing. Like he was like not playing. Like I'm not gonna run all these tournaments. They're not playing. I'm like, what's in it for me? Like I said, I don't need like I don't need to be the ringleader. I'm not. I'm not on a power trip. Some people, they're on a power trip. They want to be members of a committee and stuff. I'm I'm a libertarian, man. I want to leave people the F alone. Do whatever the hell you want. And don't tell me what to do. Like one of my pet peeves is like, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. Like somebody that's already doing stuff, you need to do more of this than you do. Like I got a guy that wants me to do this and this other stuff, and I'm gonna tell him to go fly a kite. You can take the freaking reins. The guy's disappeared for 15 years, and now he wants to be the head man in charge. Well, you run the whole thing then. When you volunteer for stuff, they don't get to tell you what you volunteer for. When the person is telling you to volunteer is doing nothing. Doesn't work that way. Not in my world. But this guy in Ohio was, I understand, he was doing all the, setting up all the tournaments, not playing in them, donating prizes out of his own pocket. Like, yeah, no wonder you got burned out. You know? And players are nomadic. Some people will play something one time and never play it again. They're always searching for, you know, the Holy Grail, and they never find it. And so the whole community of Ohio pretty much packed up, and they don't play DBA there anymore. But why would you donate prizes out of your own pocket and not play in the I mean, it's like, what kind of a sadist are you? I learned real early on, when I was really young, a guy paid me to paint for him, and I absolutely hated every bit of it because I felt like I couldn't do whatever I wanted to do. And then I felt guilty. And he gave me half the money up front. And it wasn't a big amount of money or anything, but it was like, I don't want to go through that again. So I learned one time, I don't paint for other people. I've painted stuff for other people, but it's because I wanted to them, and you don't get to ask me for it. You know, it's like, it's something that I wanted to do for them. And, you know, it's free. I don't want them to pay me for it. It's painting for benevolent. It's fun. It's fun sometimes to do something different. Churchill said that democracy is the worst system of government except for every other. That's how I feel about DBA. Well, there's not a better thing out there yet. I don't know what that means, but it's not out there yet. It's got its faults. The biggest fault it has at this point is, you know, people that use things in a game and they don't know how it gets used, and I got to look up what the damn rules are for it at 10 o'clock in the evening after I've worked all day and it's freaking 85 degrees. So yeah, no more hot gaming. If it's not 75 degrees or cooler, I'm not playing DBA. I don't care if somebody says, oh, you have to play outside in the heat, I'll never play DBA again. I'm not doing it. I've done it for way too long. Nope, I don't need to play that bad. Or any other game for that matter. No, you got to play in an oven. Nope, I don't need to game that badly. No, I'll come home. I'll come home from work. I'll shower, change my clothes, be all happy and stuff, clean, and do whatever. Let me lighten this up a little bit more. So one of my pet peeves is being rushed. I don't like being rushed. And anything involves in being rushed, I'm not particularly interested in. I get too much of that. Skylab, welcome. Good morning. I see the Huns are progressing again. Yeah, we're going to try to knock these bastards out so then we can paint something I really want to paint. I want to paint. It's got nothing to do with not wanting to paint. I want to dink around with vehicles. I haven't painted them in 25 freaking years. I think I've earned that. Another bare-chested bastard. All right. It's got nothing to do with not wanting to be creative. See, what was you said? We're sitting together. That's how I feel about DBA. I feel wargaming should be easy to do and not create conflict. Otherwise, I'd rather not wargame. That's how it should be. If it ends up being too much trouble, and fuck it, I'd rather do something else, you know? It should be relaxing. Like, this is relaxing. You know, this is... it may paint slow, but it builds upon itself. A little bit more than that. There we go. About there. All right, man, this guy's got all kinds of nooks and crannies on this guy. I'm gonna paint this. I have to paint this guy's eyes. Ugh. Man, I wish he hadn't molded them on. All right, well, it's not like it's nothing I can't do. I just would rather not do it. Even if it's for the sake of consistency. Many of the figures don't have eyes to paint. All right, let's look for the quest for micro brush. Might be this one. Yep. My wargaming pet peeve this month. Oh, you have a new one every month? I have lots of them. People trying to join your wargaming group and then try to get everyone to switch to their favorite game systems. Oh, I haven't had that happen. I haven't had that happen. Only thing I can say is my pet peeve about my group is you just can't tell who's going to show up. It's just too many variables. And my job is like full of fucking variables. And it's always going to be that way. So I don't really welcome job stuff happening on my free time, but that's probably the most frustrating thing, I think. It's just difficult to plan, which is why I don't like to play games that involve a lot of planning, a lot of pre planning, because, shit happens and it goes sideways and you're just reliving another day at work. And I don't like most gamers. I'm not talking about the people I game with. I'm just being gamers in general. I don't like most gamers. I don't like most people. And probably getting worse every day. Yes, trying to get people to commit to a bigger game can be like herding cats. Yeah, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. Like I said, it's people. You get people that frequently come to DVA, and you'll call them. Hey, you coming to the con? When is it? How do you not know when it is? It's always the same time, and it's 2 times a week. It's 2 times a year. If you're interested in going, you should know. Not everybody's that way, but there's a few people. Like, get with the program, dude. Is it minority whip or majority whip, or it's both of them? I'm tired of being the whip. Fucking don't go if you don't want to. I mean, this is nothing new. It's both of them. Okay. I mean, I don't want people hounding me. Leave me alone. I'm either interested or I'm not. You know? Okay. It's not that I didn't like people. I just find most of them to be a huge disappointment. No, I don't like people. There's some people I just don't like. You know what I'm talking about. There's a growing lack of respect in the world, and it gets worse every day. That's one thing that gets worse every day. People who just do whatever the hell they want. It's whatever. It doesn't apply to me. Let me cut in line, cheat, whatever. Not use my turn signals. Am I the only person on the road that uses turn signals? Jesus. Like people less and less every day. Yep. Yep. And the new generation and the pandemic only accelerated that. That's okay. Oh, we're still gonna do videos. Still gonna do this stuff. You know. Oh, this guy's got a six pack down here. It's probably because he's hungry. You know, don't get upset with me. Get upset with your mama who hatched you in the middle of a field with nothing to eat. I'm still going to film games, yes. However, I'm going to be playing them a lot less frequently. So, like I said, if the only gaming I do is over at the hot box, that's what I call the shed, I may not have another game until November because the weather's got to change. I'm not putting up with it. I'm pretty adamant about it. It just puts me in a bad mood. I mean, I've dealt with it for 10 fucking years. I mean, enough is enough. Hungry, exactly. That's right. That's right. So, right, more of this. All right, we're going to put this over here. No, Historicon's once a year. Our shows in Florida are twice a year. Last weekend in April, last weekend in September. And I'll go to Historicon again. I just won't run anything. And then we can play demos and film shit. Not feel like I'm tied down. Not feel like I have some responsibilities that really were for no reason whatsoever. It's not like I didn't have a time. I just felt like I had like an anchor. I felt like I was on a kind of a leash. It wasn't too bad because we had lots of time between each session, but still, it was like, hey, I want to play that demo. Hey, you want to play this demo? I said, I can't. I got to get back to this freaking, game or whatever. Shows in Florida, they're called Recon is the one in April, and the one in September is called Hurricane. It's the same show, it's just twice a year. So it's, they like to pretend it's two different shows. It's the same vendors, it's the same people, it's the same location, it's exactly the same. So, for a little bit of time when it moved them from Tampa, they had one that was in Cocoa Beach in the springtime, and then the fall one was in Orlando, and then eventually they went to both in Orlando, and it stayed that way. So the pain in the ass really for it to be at Cocoa Beach. It's another hour farther to drive, and no improvement. So I think it was over there like 3 years. 3 years. Something like that. Some people, I guess, liked it because they could bring their family. I'm like, I don't bring my family because then I feel guilty about having to try to spend time with them. And it's, not that I don't want to spend time with them, but that's not what this trip is for. So I did that for a few years, and now it's stabilized in this one location. Outside of Disney World. It's technically Kissimmee, not Orlando, but it's Orlando. Which is exactly where the show should be. It should be in Orlando. There's lots of centrally located place. And you got people that are like, I can't drive an hour to go to it. I can't do this. I can't do the other thing. I can't do the other. Like, doesn't really make it conducive for yourself to want to do more. Like, fuck it. If you don't even get off your ass and drive half an hour, why should I drive 3 and put on all these games and stuff like that? I'll still go. I just go and hang out. Play whatever I want to. Well, let's see. This guy definitely needs a good meal. Definitely. You know, there's other things like some guy wants to be like the big coordinator or whatever, and he's stepped away for 15 years, doesn't use Facebook. Like, okay, I get you don't want to get in arguments on Facebook. I don't get into arguments on Facebook. Use Facebook to communicate with people. Oh, I don't use Facebook. I don't use this. I don't do the other thing. He wants to use emails. He's like, well, have you seen my YouTube channel? Oh, you have a YouTube channel? How do you not know that? How do you want to be the big mover and shaker and don't know that there's 500 fucking videos related to TPA out there? You know, it's like, just fucking have it. Just take off with it and run with it. I'll do what I feel like doing and have a blessed day. I want to fly the plane. Oh, but I can't see. What do you mean? Well, I want to fly it. But you're blind, dude. I still want to fly it. Have fun running into the ground. All right, we need to do what kind of a light spear color. I think the buff would probably be just fine. I think we can do that. Lasso. Get picked up by a lasso. Uh-oh. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah. Man, the girl girls are really freaking sleeping in today. And is white still alive? Yep. All right, this guy's got, should have some of this metallic color left. Yep, that'll work. All right, I gotta make sure that these folks are all right. Be right back. Okay. Okay, Marco. Well, it's almost transom light 30, which that's going to put a complete stop to this. That's when that light comes in here and just barrels through and shuts down anything else. Just very difficult to paint at that time. Actually, you can't do anything right here. Can't be on the computer. It's only for a small period of time. It's like 30 minutes or something like that. I mean, I'm glad I have that light. It's a beautiful light coming through. But pretty much keeps you from being able to do that. So if I get this guy done today and get the other guy done tomorrow morning, then all these will be done. That's pretty reasonable. I got 3 guys to do in 4 days. That's doable as well. That's definitely doable. You got some spots showing here. A dog? That's weird. All right, the little bow part. All right. A bow case for this guy. He's got a little shield, which is cool. We could do some symbols on there. It's really small, so can't do any big symbols. I'll tell you what, we're about to hit the transom light 30, so we're gonna scrub this one. We're gonna call this one a wrap. And we've been on here almost 4 hours, so I appreciate you guys coming by, and we'll catch you soon. Some more